you brought up Miami being a potential chaos team, and I'm a diehard Hurricanes fan, but I'm having a hard time sipping the Miami Hurricanes Kool-Aid this year. Mario Cristobal put a lot of money into improving Miami's biggest bugaboo last year, which was the secondary. Snapped four of the top 20 DBs out of the transfer portal, including a guy in Jacoby Thomas in the spring cycle who has started a good amount of action for the Vols. And really, when you look at Miami outside of maybe some concerns you got about Carson Beck, I think that he'll be pretty good. I've seen Carson Beck actually play in person when my high
Oh,
school team went
wow.
against him. Yeah, like we were up 21-0. Then after the first quarter, the dude just completely became like Tom Brady in high school. And I've seen Mac Jones play my freshman year at high school, and Carson Beck was way better than him. I felt like I was watching an NFL quarterback before my eyes, and I hate how he gets scapegoated for a bunch of issues at Georgia that more so were due to the other pieces around him not being up to par. Yeah, he has some turnover issues, but Shannon Dawson is one of the brightest offensive minds in the nation. And he has one of the best offensive lines, too, of Mario Cristobal specializing in that area. But that's the thing, though. I like the talent that Miami has. My concern is the coaching going to hurt Miami again? Because anytime you got to hire an assistant to help you manage the clock, I just don't know how much I can trust you. And I'm picking Miami to beat Notre Dame week one. I know Miami can win the big games, but can they avoid the upset losses like what we saw them have to Honda McCord and Syracuse and Georgia Tech last year? That's where my pessimism for this team lies. Do you think that Miami can finally trust Mario Cristobal? Can he get this team to a level that they haven't been in 22 years, winning back-to-back double-digit game, well, having back-to-back double-digit winning seasons, and possibly winning their first ever ACC title?
I think that Miami will, I don't know if they'll be better than last year in a potential sense because that offense was crazy, but they'll be a more balanced team. And I think that that will help stability and that will help them in a quest to reach the college football playoff. When I look at Miami, I see a team that has the number one offensive tackle in Francis Mauigoa, that could have the number one D end in Ruben Bain Jr., that has a corner trio, if you include nickel, at Xavier Lucas, OJ Frederick, and Charles Brantley, that could be the best in the ACC. I like the pickup of Muhammad Toure at linebacker. Um, and then I love what they have at running back. I mean, when I look at this team, it reminds me as a Michigan fan of like those 21 or 22 Michigan teams. Like obviously not 23, but where this team can, they have a talented QB, good enough receivers, a really good O-line, a deep running back room, and then enough players on defense to be really good there. I think that you should expect this team to reach the playoffs. If you're a Miami fan, you should. If they miss it again, it's a failure for sure. Because the schedule, while harder, if you lose to, like, let's say you lose to both Miami, and you lose to both Florida and Notre Dame. Well, if you then reach the ACC championship game, even if you have a third loss, you go 10-3, but win the ACC, you get in. I'd call that a success. And I think right now in week one, Miami will be better than Notre Dame. Florida, I think Florida matches up better with Miami, even though I think Notre Dame's better just because Notre Dame's unknown at QB. They have a staff change, a huge downgrade, I think, at DC, and Florida has, continuity and then those trenches and DJ Lagway that just, I would not want to play that if I were anyone. But they have the best outlook in the ACC. I think that based on recruiting and development trends, they should rule the ACC after this Clemson team, just based on how they've recruited and how they've developed. The fact that Cristobal's willing to hire and fire people when he needs to. And yeah, they're just going to keep building and building. And this year, it would shock me a little bit, just a little bit, but it actually wouldn't surprise me all that much if they ended up being better than Clemson because I think Miami last year, if they played against Texas, for example, would have performed at about the same level. And while Clemson brings a lot of guys back, Miami now has in their depth chart the probably a similar quality athlete, if not better. And I think Corey Heatherman's a better DC than Tom Allen, for example. I don't think Allen did the greatest job managing that Penn State defense, and I think Heatherman did as good as anyone could have with that Minnesota unit.
Yeah, that Minnesota defense was carrying Minnesota majority of the season, and realistically, I got Miami going 9-3. Hurt my own fan base is turning against me because they think that I'm too low on Cristobal, but I'd rather be surprised than disappointed this year.